You are on. Go.
Hello and welcome to Evans Mill. I'm Jason, your executive chef. Today we're going to be continuing on our knife series, our knife skills series. Today we actually have a special we got a request. Might be our first request. But Rich, this is for you. You wanted tomatoes, you're going to get them. And it's perfect time because this is summertime. The tomatoes, go to your farmer's market, get them. Enjoy them while they last. They might be the best thing about summer, in my opinion, other than sunburn or something. But today we're going to show you just a few basic cuts on tomatoes. Also maybe tell you a few things about tomatoes. First thing is don't refrigerate your tomatoes. Not until they get to the point where you're going to lose them. Because refrigerating the tomato is going to cause it to lose its flavor. It's also going to cause it to change in texture. Just not going to be as good. So let's start out. First thing was what kind of knife to use on tomatoes. You can use any kind of knife on tomatoes as long as it's very, very sharp. If your knives are not just perfectly sharp, I like to use the serrated knife, which has also got the scalloped edge. You use that for cutting bread as well. But I like to use a serrated knife just because you can use a sawing motion. The skin on the tomato is so tender that if your knife is not super sharp, it's going to bruise the tomato instead of cutting it. So it makes it kind of hard to cut. So try your serrated knives out. I got a few of them here, different size teeth on them. But let's start out with just a basic slicing tomato. It's what it looks like. So start out with your bear claw. Take your knife. Get your. I usually just trim off the top. You could get a tomato core and kind of core that out if you want to get the core out. But we'll take that off, and we'll use that. We'll dice that up and put it into something else. So take your tomato, hold it nice and firm, and then with a sawing motion. So you're not just pushing down through the tomato. You're doing a little sawing. You can cut you a nice slice, and you can cut those as thick as you want.
And you're sawing because if you just try to press through, you're going to kind of crush it, or what?
Yeah, you're just going to crush through it. And this has teeth like a saw. Mm-hmm. So just like a saw, you're going to use those teeth instead of just trying to push down through. If your tomatoes are super ripe too and they're a little bit soft, definitely better to use a serrated knife than trying to push down with a regular chef knife. All right.
Now, Jason, you cut it the way you did. Do you ever cut it like in the opposite axis?
You could, but it falls apart.
Okay, don't do that.
You want to see that?
Okay, no, well, unless you want the audience to see that, what happens.
Sure, so we cut it in a round, so that's what you would normally find on your burger or on your sandwich, which works great.
Don't do it this way.
So if you turn it around this way and you start slicing, you'll see, this is a good example, how all the seeds and the juice run like that, and they just come out real easy, and you end up with kind of a mess.
All right.
So it's a good question, William. Thank you. And that's going to set us up actually for a nice. So we can do our wedges. A lot of people see these on salads. So to get your wedges, you're going to cut your tomato in half. We've already sliced them off, and then you can lay it down, and then kind of come from the side and cut your wedges out of that. Depending on how big it is, you might get 5 or 6 wedges out of the half of the tomato. And let's see. Next we're going to do our dicing. And we got some Roma tomatoes. Roma tomato, like this one was a beef steak. You'll see all kinds of tomatoes this time of year. Beef steak sounds meaty. Yeah, it is. There's not a lot of seeds in it. Lots of meat, not as much juice. A Roma tomato, very similar, but different shape. A lot of these are good for sauces and also salsas. So I like to use these if we're making pico. So we're going to take this, I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise, and then you can lay it down. And if you remember our onion video, this is going to be similar to that. We're not going to cut all the way to the end. We're just going to cut some strips, however big we want those dices to be. And then we turn it the other way, and we can make our dices. Lay that last little bit down, cut him up. Now we've got some diced tomatoes. Everybody's running away. These, we also got some cherry tomatoes, just for example. These, I like to eat them whole, then you just pop in your mouth. You can, if they're too big, you can take them and just kind of cut those in half. You can also.
You don't want to use a bear claw on the small ones.
Yeah, don't use the bear claw unless you have really small hands. I guess that would work. Also on these little ones, you can, if you cut them in half, you can take. Sometimes we'll do these for weddings. Take your little spoon or something and scoop out the seeds, and then you can we take Boursin cheese and we'll pipe some cheese into those. Or you can take like any kind of filling, like a little crab filling or something. Put in those. They make a nice little appetizer. All right, I think that's pretty good. You guys play with your tomatoes while they last. We'll be thinking about them in the winter time when we don't have any nice ones. But you guys enjoy. Thank you.